Hello, everybody. Welcome. Wednesday night edition of Inside the Headset. We're live and on the air. Our sponsor tonight is John Jones. John Jones Real Estate. Nobody sells homes like John. Going to crank it up down in Alabama. This guy's going to go into action for the first time with the 2024 season with the Helena Huskies. He's going to take on McAdory. We're going to talk to him. And live and on the air, we got head coach of the Helena Huskies, head coach Richie Busby. How you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm good, Stuart. How are y'all doing up there?
We're doing good. It's hot. It's hot. When it's still like 101 and 102 at 5:30 in Middle Tennessee, and I know it's hot down in Alabama.
Oh yeah, no doubt it's hot. But excited to get the season rolling Friday night.
You went out and you scouted McAdory last Friday night. Tell me a little bit about, and for those, and we want to repeat this again for those of you that are ignorant, meaning you don't know, that's where Bo Jackson went to high school, but went out and got on the road and got the coaching crews out and started taking notes. Tell us a little bit about what you saw about McAdory.
Well, I've grown up in this area, basically down, a couple miles from McAdory my whole life, and it's just a typical McAdory football team, big and fast. And Coach Holmes is, I guess, going in his third year there after legendary coach, Hall of Famer Coach David Powell, and it's probably the best team I've seen them have since Coach Powell left. They've got a lot of returning starters defensively for sure, and they won last week, beat Pleasant Grove, who's been in the state finals in 5A couple of times over the last 3 or 4 years. So we got our work cut out for us, that's for sure.
I had a couple of nephews go to Pleasant Grove years ago. Had a couple. I had a couple of. I've got family in the Birmingham area, but has that been a? Have you all played Pleasant Grove in the past, or are they in a different division? Are they 6A?
We have not played Pleasant Grove. Now, this will be the 5th time we've played McAdory. We are 2-2 against them. I guess actually 2-1. We had to forfeit against them during the COVID year, but all the games have been really tight. We beat them in double overtime back in 2021. So expecting a good game, and like I say, as a crow flies, we're probably no more than 7 or 8 miles from one another.
What do you like about this McAdory team when you sit back and look at them and you think, these guys, what jumps out immediately? Well,
they're physical, and just like any other McAdory team over the years, they can really run. They get to the ball, and they've had a great tradition. When David Powell was there, they averaged 10 wins a year for 20 years straight when he was there. So that's no easy feat. Quarterback is really athletic. Got a good running back. They're big up front. They've got one tremendous receiver, number 17. So there's a lot of ways they can hurt you. And like I said, they've got, I think, 9 returning starters on defense. And they're big up front. They play a multiple front. They got several defenses. They've got a big defensive line they can run in there, and then they rotate some faster guys, some edge rushers. So they're really multiple on defense, which gives us a problem trying to figure out. They base out of a 4-3, but they'll also get in a bear front. So a lot of different looks and a lot of experience on that side of the ball for them.
What scares you about Friday night, Coach, other than you're real young and you don't have a whole lot of what we call game night experience yet for some of the younger guys? We saw some of that happening last Friday night here in the state of Tennessee, and of course it's going to be hot this Friday night. So what cramping, or mistakes, penalties, missed assignments? What keeps you up at night right now?
Just like I said last week, we've got a lot of older kids that are starting, but they're very inexperienced and having to go on the road in an atmosphere like McAdory. They have tremendous support. Our crowd will be large. I worry that we have a couple of hiccups early, and the thing can get away from us early. I think if we can stay in the game and get our feet under us, we're going to be okay. But just their speed, I think, worries me, and their ability to hit big plays. And as you know, explosive plays are one of the things that all of us try to keep to a minimum on the defensive side, and we try to maximize on the offensive side. So I think their speed and just our inexperience being our first game. And yes, we've played in a scrimmage, but as you know, that's not the same as when you're playing 4 quarters.
Yeah, and it's a shame you guys in Alabama don't get to do a little more scrimmaging as we do in the state of Tennessee. The sports information, and I don't know why. Maybe there. Do you know why? Is there a reason why they?
Well, what we're told, obviously, this comes up a lot. I mean, over the winter, I bet I talked to 10 coaches because, I'm the vice president of the Football Coaches Association in our state.
Congratulations with the headache. Yeah, talk to me about it.
Yeah, but it's not a governing body. I mean,
no.
We're not promoting football. Now, we do work a little bit with Alabama High School Athletic Association as far as things that we support as far as rule changes and things like that, but we're not a governing body. So a lot of people call me all the time and like, why can't we do what Georgia does and those kind of things? I'm like, well, guys, the board I sit on, we have nothing to do with that. We can all make proposals like any other school.
Yeah, you and Kevin said the same thing. Yeah, I was talking to Kevin about Creasy about the Coaches Association. It's like it's powerless. He said, you're powerless in a sense of how you have a voice, but you don't have a voice. It's a powerless voice in the system. Am I correct?
Right. Yes, and we probably have between 1,700 and 2,000 members, a tremendous organization. Now, obviously, if we get behind a proposal or a rule change, it helps. I mean, obviously, us making phone calls and being on the board, but we can't change the rules as far as what we can do in the summer. And we always say down in Alabama, and I didn't really realize Tennessee did things early, but as an Alabama school, you really don't want to play a Georgia school in week 0 or 1 because they've had 2 scrimmages or OTAs with other school in pads. They've actually played a full scrimmage, and played a game before we even start our season. So I think the majority of it down here is probably our medical advisory board at the state. It's just, been apprehensive about that. And, I'm kind of on the fence with that. I think we do so much in the summer now. At some point it's kind of like what's too much. But yes, we're behind some of those states when it comes to playing games early. So I think we do enough. But when the other states that border you are doing more, it's kind of like everybody wants to know why we don't do it.
Well, exactly. It becomes a disadvantage, and you said an advantage. It's according to how you spin it. You take a spread. Right. You take a spreadsheet jockey that knows numbers. He can spin it one way. It's a bad story, and he can spin it another way. As man, there's hope. We can make it.
Yeah. When I played high school football, we basically came back after the 4th of July and started lifting little weights, running, and went to playing, and now it's just like it never stops. So I'm kind of, where I am in my age, I'm kind of sitting between old school and new school. I see it, but at the same time, we're not paid like the college guys are to work basically year round.
Well, and the problem is if the other teams are allowed to do it, so let's say there's 2 weeks extra open practice and your opponent is doing it, then you've got some parents that are saying, "Why, Richie, why ain't you practicing? Why ain't we getting better? Why ain't we getting ready for this big game? Our opponents are all practicing." So you're in a catch.
Exactly right.
You're in a catch-22. Whereas some parents come up and say, "We never get the kids off for the summer. We never get to go on vacation. We have to work around you, Richie." And
Oh, I know. I hear that now because in Alabama we're given the choice of having a spring training or starting a week early in fall camp. Now, we also get 10 practices during the winter where we can just be in helmets. And it all just depends on what kind of school you're at. A school like mine where I've got tons of kids running track, playing baseball, I've got coaches spread out all over spring sports. It's really, for us to have a spring, it really doesn't do us any good because I've got coaches that are not there. I've got players that are not there. So for us,
I'm getting ready to talk to a coach, Boyd Buchanan, Gary Rankin will tell you, because they're a private small school. He's like, we have to kind of dodge around and jockey our 2 weeks of spring because I got kids playing baseball and track and everything else, and he's promoting that. He wants those kids to play those other sports. He doesn't want them to be single sported.
And I'm the same way. And the climate of today's way things are going. If you go out and you're playing your three quarterbacks are playing infield for the baseball team in the semifinals of the playoffs, and you go out and you get beat in a spring game, you might have 2 or 3 kids that transfer because, we're not going to be any good this year, because people, can't see the fact that you don't have kids out there. You're missing a couple coaches. And, what I hate about us not doing spring at Helene, it hurts our kids as far as being evaluated by the college coaches coming by spring. But at the end of the day, it's more beneficial to us to have that extra week of fall camp when it comes to winning and losing ball games.
Well, and that's going to change too with the national NIL, with the money moving around and all that. I mean, high school kids are going to have a tough time getting, whether you're a girl or a boy, getting a college scholarship coming in as a freshman. It's going to get tougher and tougher.
Well,
because
we saw it firsthand last year. I feel like the running back I had the last 3 years was probably the best, second best player I've probably ever coached, and he ends up, I thought he was a lower level SEC type running back. He would have been probably 5 years ago. Well, he ends up going to Murray State, and he won the starting job up there as a true freshman, which is very hard at a tailback position for somebody that age. But he ends up going to Murray State because of this portal and all the things that are going on. Now, if he does what he's supposed to do, probably in 18 months, he'll probably benefit from the portal. But the whole landscape of high school football is changing for a lot of reasons, especially for the kids that have the ability to play at the next level.
Yeah, and it's going to continue, and this moving around, and there's going to be 2 separate groups of football, high school football groups. Those with the money that can get the players, and those that don't have the money. Zoning's going to become a joke. Eventually, it already is a joke in some places. I mean, and who can monitor it? If a child comes to you and says, "My mom and dad's getting a divorce, and I'm going to McAdory," there's not much you can say, and it's not your business. You're there to coach a football team. Well, how many guys you go suit on Friday night? And when you look at the sideline, how many you gonna put out there?
Right. It's turned into basically college football with the have and the have-nots, and I'm all for a kid being able to better themselves and go to a better program. I'm not for the third-party people that are putting the 2 parties together to make that happen. And we had an article a couple weeks ago on the AL.com, which is our paper in Alabama, that the quarterback at Thompson got offered over $1 million. To come to Georgia to play high school football.
Get the heck out of here. Is he that good? Is he that gone good?
Yeah, he's pretty gone good. I mean, he's got 3 years left, too. So you wonder when a high school, and Coach Freeman at Thompson and I started coaching together in 97, and he told me this back in the spring, and he's not going to make things up. When somebody's offered over $1 million for 3 years to come play high school football, you wonder where that money's coming from, and you got to know that it's coming from some university booster that's trying to get that kid in that state where they can kind of lock them down or whatever. And
that's what Coach Dye did. That's what Coach Dye did with Bo Jackson. If you read the book, that's what Coach Dye did.
We dodged a bullet last year. There's a lot of universities that are for an early signing period in June. And our state and Tennessee too, because our executive director and the Tennessee executive director talk a lot, and Mississippi and Georgia. Well, think if you have a kid that signs in June. Well, one, how are you going to coach him his senior year? He might not even play. He may just sit out and say, "I'm not going to play. I'm just going to train and lift weights and get ready to go on." Because I don't know this for sure, but if you sign in June, going into your senior year, you could probably go and take the money the university's offered you. So why would you play your senior year? And if you did, how hard is it going to be to coach a kid if he's already signed with, say, Alabama in June? He's going to be trying not to get hurt.
Yeah, it's going to start getting messed up, is what you're saying. But I was going to say one thing to kind of give you a situation you would. I don't know how you would have dealt with it, but I know how Philip Shadowins dealt with it. We'll talk to him a little later. But Sonny was a very special kid. I mean, we knew it. We all kind of knew it when he was coming through high school in '05, '06, and '07. But dude, he played baseball all through the summer, travel ball. When we saw Sonny, when you saw Sonny? First day of school. I mean, he didn't. He made no bones about it. He told everybody, "I'll play football. I love football. I'll go out here and I'll light that scoreboard up and I'll lay it on the line and won us 2 back-to-back state high school championships." But at the same time, his daddy told me also at that time when Jesse was living is the bottom line: baseball's number one. And we're going to get in shape for baseball. Well, it shaped out pretty good. He's on his last leg, but it's not a bad leg to be on. He's making $25 million per year for the next 3 years, so he'll make $75 million. And to understand the numbers that football just don't generate the money, you got to be you got to be Tom Brady good to generate the numbers in football like baseball does. When you're good.
Yeah, and we have obviously Helena is a huge baseball school. They won a state championship back in 2017. And look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm one of those coaches that if I have a baseball kid that's a baseball kid first, obviously I was a college baseball player. My dad was a professional baseball player. I tell them all the time, look, do your travel ball. After July the 4th, I need you to start being here as much as you can. They have a big world wood bat thing in July, and I let them miss for that. But I truly believe in a multi-sport athlete. I'll bend over backwards for the kids to be able to play. If they're all playing in a very competitive baseball league and missing a little football, that's fine. I'd rather have them in the fall on Friday nights playing football than just to say, no, you're not going to play because you're not here for every workout.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with these multi-sport athletes. One is the trainers and the outside influence tell them to specialize, but the other part is the coaches on these high school campuses won't bend a little bit for each other to allow a kid to miss some things where they can play multiple sports.
And you got to have hand and eye guys. You got to have hand and eye guys. In football, and you don't get them anywhere else but from baseball and basketball. You got to get hand and eye coordination guys from the other sports. It's just people got to know that. I mean, don't be ignorant. Well, Coach, listen, I got to run. I got to get on the air with. I got to call Coach Rankin. But listen, we'll be following your game Friday night. We wish you the best of luck. Stay healthy. Go out there, get a big win, and we'll talk to you next week on Inside the Headset.
Yes, sir. Stuart, enjoyed it. Go Huskies.
All righty.